Hello, Diljit. How are you? I have a problem again. Yes, all these guides they write. Yeah, you need a stamina, acceleration, work rate for Gegenpressing system. Yes, I did all that. But what in the name of Rainer Falk is going on? Okay, every time I attack, I cannot protect my backside. All of them they come up my backside and they score. It's not. It's very painful.
Daddy, how's Joey? Baba is suffer.
My name is Daljit. Welcome to the show. I'm really excited about today's show. We're going to be taking a look at the key attributes for a gegenpressing system. On top of that, I'm going to identify these attributes and why they're important for different phases. And yes, we also have a special view that you can use. When you use this view, at a glance, you'll be able to tell whether your team can do the gegenpressing system. If you find building your own tactics to be a challenge, then you've come to the right place. Here, I'll help you with tips, tricks, hacks, and guides. 3 times a week, I also stream on another channel called Daljit's Moments. On Wednesdays, you can pop by, bring your tactic, and we will play it together, and I will see whether, there are certain options with that formation. Of course, we also have a public draft. It happens on Fridays, Tuesdays, sometimes even Saturdays on Twitch. There we can have some fun together playing the game. Gegenpressing football is a form of high risk, high reward. It requires a certain breed of player. Your tactics need to be set up right. But if you've set up your tactics correctly, or even if you're using the presets, sometimes you could go into a game and, well, things might not play the way you want them to, because you could have issues with certain players. These players might lose concentration at key junctures of the game. So what are the attributes I look for in a gegenpressing system? Whenever we use a tactic, whether it's created or downloaded, we have to understand that the game moves through phases. There are 3 main phases in the game, and during these 3 main phases, attributes kick in. There are certain priorities for attributes during these 3 phases. And these are the defensive phase, the consolidation phase, and the attacking phase. These are 3 separate phases in a football game. Why do I think this is a timely video? Because I'm fully expecting the winter update to come, and it's going to tweak certain things as far as gegenpressing systems are concerned. And this is primarily the cost of using these systems. If you're trying to beat Manchester City playing a gegenpressing system, then, well, you might find it a bit difficult because they've got all their attributes in the right places. There are 16 attributes that we have to pay attention to, and I'm going to explain why these attributes are important during the 3 main phases. We'll start first with the defensive phase. When your transition breaks down and your team has to come back and defend, certain attributes take precedence during the defensive phase. These include concentration, positioning, anticipation, teamwork, work rate, acceleration, stamina, bravery, determination, and technique. Why? Concentration basically reflects a player's mental focus and his attention to detail on an event-by-event basis, because that's exactly how the match engine works. A high rating here will mean that the player can keep his focus on what's happening on the pitch. If play breaks down, he knows play breaks down. If you are in the middle of building your consolidation phase, you're in midfield and you're working the ball around, and your playmaker suddenly sees an opportunity to break the offside trap with a killer ball, you need players in wider areas to have concentration as well, because they have to be paying attention to what's going on. They also need anticipation to break through. So concentration is a really important attribute, and it's very, very painful when you have players who have got low concentration, because towards the tail end of the match, when your players start getting tired, lower concentration will see certain players lose focus, and then you will see them making mistakes. So if you're ever playing against somebody else and you notice that his defenders have low concentration, you really want to take the game to them, because there's a strong possibility those players will lose concentration and you could get behind his high press. Whenever you have defenders with low concentration, they tend to make mistakes at the back. And this can be compounded if they have poor positioning, because positioning is another attribute that's very important for your defenders. You can get away with poor acceleration for defenders if their positioning is really good, because that tells you whether they know where to stand. However, when you're playing really high up the pitch, you sometimes need to track back really quickly. So acceleration becomes really important for the whole team. So you can't really sacrifice poor acceleration for fantastic positioning if you want to play really high up the pitch. Then we have teamwork, which is extremely important for a gegenpressing system, because you want your players to follow your tactical instructions. If your players have low teamwork, there's a good possibility some of them will slack off and they may not buy into your decision to do certain things during the game. So if you're looking at playing a high pressing system, you probably will also need good teamwork for your defenders if you have opted to also use the offside trap. Work rate, which reflects the player's mental drive to work to his full capacity. A high rating will make sure that this player wants to work his socks off during the game from start to end. And, it's also necessary to make sure that he has the right attributes with high work rate. He needs stamina as well, and he needs natural fitness so that you can use him from game to game. It's an admirable trait to have in your team, because it doesn't just merely signify his desire to run and take on players, but it also reflects his ability to drop what he's doing to help another teammate out if he needs to be covered in case that teammate has gone missing or is in an attacking position. So certain roles like defensive midfielders might be needed to drop into a fullback's position. If they've got low teamwork rating, they might not do that. If they have a high teamwork rating, they could do that if your wingback is high up the pitch. Well, I don't need to explain why acceleration, stamina, bravery is important, but I do need to explain determination. Determination is a bit misunderstood. It is the mother of all attributes. It does affect training, but during the course of a match, if a player has low determination, you're using a gegenpressing system, you're one goal down, that player has a determination of 8. There's a strong possibility he might not be up to trying to fight his way back and win the match. So players with low determination, they're not very good in gegenpressing systems. There's one other attribute that's important in the defensive phase. It's also important in the consolidation phase, and is vital in the attacking phase. That attribute is actually technique, because technique is the finishing touch. It is the ability of a player to do his task properly. So if you want him to tackle, he's got good technique, he pulls it off. You want him to score a free kick, he's got good technique, he puts it on target. A player with good technique does the job better than a player who has got poor technique. I always look at these attributes first before I look at the technical attributes of a player, because there's no point having 20 for tackling if your technique is 10 or your anticipation is 9. It just means that you don't have the brains. You might be able to tackle, but what's the point of doing it at the wrong time? So you've won the ball in defense and you're moving the ball out to midfield. Now we enter what is called the consolidation phase. And depending on the kind of setup you have, chances are, if you're playing high tempo, you're going to be moving through this phase relatively quickly in a gegenpressing system. When we move through this phase, we need certain attributes to make sure that we keep the ball and we use it intelligently. And there are some attributes here that are more important than others. Right at the top of the list, again, is concentration. But during the consolidation phase, we also need composure. Now, composure tends to work hand in hand with a few attributes. Composure, first touch, balance, and agility all reflect a player's ability to twist and turn under pressure. So when you're moving the ball through midfield, you want to make sure that your players have got composure, they've got agility, balance, first touch, because these are the attributes that a player will need under pressure to be able to move the ball around. And if you are faced against a team that's defending aggressively or has hard tackling on, if your players have poor composure, even poor first touch, because they take the ball, first touch, they lose control of the ball spills over, you've got an instant turnover in the heart of midfield, which is probably the worst place to lose the ball. Then we have work rate, stamina, and of course, off the ball, and decisions. Because these attributes are incredibly important. A player needs good work rate. He needs to be able to hustle up the pitch and back down the pitch. They will need stamina because they're doing this for longer periods of time. They need off the ball because if they don't have good off the ball, players won't be able to find them with the pass. And finally, decisions. When players are under pressure, they're going to have to make the right decision as to where to pass the ball. Do they keep the ball under pressure or do they move it about? A player with poor decisions can sometimes make mistakes under pressure. Finally, of course, we've got agility and balance, which are going to be important for any player playing in the heart of midfield in a gegenpressing system, because poor agility and balance can see a player, because they're going to be twisting and turning in small areas of the pitch, they need to be able to control the ball relatively well under pressure. The shortest phase in any gegenpressing system is going to be the attacking phase. That is the phase where an attacking move is made. A player might play a pass out wide or into an area where somebody plays a key pass and creates a goal-scoring transition, and that phase usually doesn't last very long. Because it's such a short phase, attributes is really important. You need players who have got good acceleration, fantastic off the ball, and they need to be paying attention. So concentration becomes very important. They need to have high anticipation because they might need to break the offside trap. So they have to be paying attention. They have to be able to read and understand what's happening during the course of the game. If they have poor anticipation, they sometimes fail to break the offside trap, or they sometimes fail to read that the pass is coming. Finally, we have agility and balance. This is an important attribute for any player in a wider area hoping to take on defenders with a dribble. There's no point having a high dribbling attribute of 15 if a player's agility and balance is low. It just means that he can only dribble in a straight line. He can't twist and turn, which is what you really need from gegenpressing systems. Then we have composure and technique. Needless to say, we all know why that is important. Well, do you think 16 attributes are just too many? Well, take a look at Manchester City and look at the 16 attributes at play here. Look at the concentration levels for the players. 12 is generally average for most players. 13 is average to good. You want about 14 for most of your players, but 12 to 13 is acceptable in most cases. But look at Manchester City. Their best players have got high levels of concentration. The decision making across the team is very good. Their off the ball is excellent. They've got fantastic teamwork. They've got good composure. Even the defenders have very good composure. And the final third players all have decent levels of composure. And then we've got fantastic amounts of work rate in the final third and across the pitch. If I want to play a gegenpressing system, I need to know whether my players can do the job. On top of that, whenever I look at my team, I need to evaluate whether certain players can play games against tougher opponents. And then I need to make a decision as to who is going to be playing. So this view that I have shared with you is available in the Dropbox folder below. All you got to do is go search views. You will see Gegen DNA. Just download it and add it to your views folder. These are the baseline attributes that you need for your team. And I hope that by explaining it in terms of the transitional phases, you are in a better position to identify players who might need a bit of tweaking in terms of training. It's fairly easy to get all these attributes up through training, and failing which, you can just go out there and buy some better players for your gegenpressing system. How do I use this view? It's simple. Gegenpressing system need core attributes. I look at these core attributes to identify first up whether I have the players to play the system mentally. Then I look at their technical attributes to see whether they can do the job that is required of them. And if failing which, if I don't have those players, I probably will need to train those attributes, or go get myself better players, or forget about playing gegenpressing. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's show and you found it useful. Once again, if you have any more questions, drop me a note below. And if there's a certain area of the game you need a bit more help with, I'm more than happy to do another video. You guys stay safe, take care of each other. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.